Hambassadors is brought to you by the legends at Stark.
And this week, we're celebrating their epic space at Made in Hamilton East. They've got the golf club, which has the epic GC Hawk simulator and a wide range of courses and virtual golf games for all levels.
Then there's Sing Easy, your private karaoke cave with top-notch sound, moody lights, and a disco ball.
And when the thirst kicks in, Happy are pouring craft beers, cocktails, and good vibes. They can even drop the drinks in to you at Golf Club or Sing Easy.
Getting social this festive season, never look better down at Made.
Welcome to the latest episode of Hambassadors, our show that takes you behind the scenes of the Between Two Beers podcast. How are we doing today, Shay?
I'm rattled because we're recording this on a day which isn't our normal Hambassadors day. So my whole routine, you know how much I like routines.
Yeah.
My way to kick off a week is out of kilter.
Yeah.
So I'm a little bit.
Yeah.
I'm feeling a little bit sick, but I'm also a little bit unsure of where we're at.
You've turned up, and I do know you don't like out of routine. I'm away for the rest of the week, which is why we've brought it forward.
Yeah.
So I appreciate you coming when it's difficult.
And I appreciate you.
Don't touch me because you're not well.
Oh, I'm not well.
You're
sick.
not well. But we do have reason to celebrate today.
Yes. What's the occasion?
It's our 6th birthday. Between Two Beers turns 6 today.
Yeah. We've come a long way since episode 1, Aaron Scott in the Glenview garage of Bruce Ave.
We've got a lot to talk about 6 years. Liquorland, who have been with us for the last 2 years, have a new segment, which you would have heard in the last episode. It's about celebrating life's moments, both big and small. So they ask, what's the occasion? Our occasion is 6th birthday. And so what we've done is we have selected 6 moments each that stand out to us across the last 6 years.
There's an obvious place to start, right?
Yeah, which is right here. For those listening, I've just put a Blue Yeti omnidirectional microphone on the table.
That was real nice. That was a real nice ad lib.
Yeah, thank you. So this was how it all started. Buying a $200 microphone at JB Hi-Fi, because we'd talked about starting a podcast. But you didn't really know what a podcast was.
I had no idea what a podcast was.
Yeah.
And then you sent me the link to Tim Ferriss, Tools of Titans, about how to shape and ask good questions.
Yeah.
And then we went away, we did 10 questions each and invited Azza.
Yeah, but buying the microphone was kind of like neither of us have any money now. Neither of us had any money then, and $200 was kind of a statement like, okay, we're actually doing it.
Yeah. Have we reimbursed you for that yet?
No, I don't think so. I think that was from my personal account. That was for me. It was I think we did the first 100 episodes with that. Like, it was just in the middle of a table and we would just talk into it from different directions, plugged into my laptop and uploaded onto SoundCloud.
Yeah. And we did the majority of episodes in Bruce Ave, in the Bruce Ave studio, but we did also go out to different people's homes in those early years. And one of the moments for me, I think, when I sort of start to think, shit, we're actually really doing it, is when we went out to Cambridge with Eric Murray. And this is part of our keynote where we talk about the term big dick energy was invented for Eric Murray, because we did arrive at his place with, I think, like 12 beers, and he hoovered up 8 of them within the first 15 minutes of talking. But I do remember after we recorded with him, we were getting the photos done, sort of like looking around his lounge, and there was like an oar, all of his Olympic medals. It was quite a surreal experience driving back to Hamilton thinking, man, I've never met this guy before. He's just invited us into his house. We've recorded quite a energetic, laugh a minute episode with him as well. And now we're going back home again. It was like, at that point, I remember thinking, oh man, I think we're making it.
But this was still like episode
36.
So up until then, it had pretty much been people we knew personally.
Yeah.
Right? He was one of the first that we didn't have any existing relationship with.
Yeah, we were linked by Emma Twigg. So we'd been to Emma's house in Cambridge, and then she was like, I'll get Eric on eventually. And that was like 10 episodes later.
But I remember driving home from that one too and being like, well, we did it with someone we didn't know who's one of our best ever athletes, most successful Olympians. So it's like, I feel like we can do it with anyone after that.
Yeah, it was crazy.
Yeah. I've got on my list, which is kind of like continuing the journey, driving 2.5 hours to Kevin Fallon's place on a Thursday night for episode 37. So this was around that same time.
Yeah.
And so I was working full-time at the Herald. I had 2 or 3 kids. You were working full-time for HGB.
That's right.
And Kevin Fallon was quite a legendary and controversial football figure. So he was kind of like a big get for us at that point. Like, we'll tell the Kevin Fallon story. But it involved driving out to, where's like...
It's like out the back of Waiuku almost. Like, I can't remember the name of the bay off the top of my head, but his wife Mary had made like sandwiches and lunch for us as well.
But like that, reflecting back on where we've come to, it's those moments, like lives were pretty busy and we've driven 2.5 hours to record with him in person rather than doing it over a video. Like, we didn't want to take a shortcut because it was important to us.
I think we hadn't done a video call by that stage, I don't think. We were still insisting that it was in person. It was pre-COVID.
Yeah. And I remember a bit of pressure from home. Bon had a lot to juggle. And it's like, are you really like, this is a like, your time is quite valuable yourself. Are you really going and doing this? Like, what's the payback from it? And it was kind of that, I don't know. I just feel like if we keep going, it's going to turn into something.
I hadn't thought about that episode for a long time. Speaking of drives back, my next one is drive back from Rebecca Roll's interview. So Rebecca Roll's dual international cricket and football, but she was also quite high up in the police. But the reason that one sticks out is that was around the time that I decided to stop drinking. So as we did, you and I drove in separate cars, drove home. We were talking on the drive back. And that was where you kind of had that conversation with me about maybe this is time to just stop drinking. And it was brought on by the fact that during one of my drunken stupors, the house that Rebecca Rolls lived in was on the same street as a friend of mine. So this is after a stag do. And I had, in movies you have those flashes of when like you can kind of piece together things. I had a flash of like being at a white fence in front of a house trying to get in, thinking it was my mate's place, and it wasn't. And then when we turned up at Rebecca's house, it was one of like 3 white fences on that same street. And I was thinking, oh man, like please don't let me have been like banging on her door at 3 o'clock in the morning, completely hammered out of my mind trying to find where it was. I don't think it was, but she was also, whether this is tongue in cheek, she was like, oh, we can check the security camera footage. I don't know if you remember that. She's like, we can check and I was like, nah, we don't need to do that. But like that conversation was kind of the anchor conversation for not drinking ever again, which is 3 or 4 years ago now. Yeah,
it's coming back. Also thinking about the change in dynamic of us, because at that time we would hang out on the drive, we would talk on the drives and prep for the episode on the drives. We would record and we'd drive home, and that would be kind of all we'd see of each other each week.
Yeah.
Whereas now we're in each other's pocket all day and we go in separate cars. But we would call, because we were in separate cars, and I remember that it was like an hour long plus phone call, just on speakerphone. And I don't remember what triggered it, but we just got into it, and it's like, man, like, what the fuck?
Well, yeah, I mean, and even if you listen back probably to some of those early episodes, like a lot of the content was kind of drunken war stories, almost as a way to kind of meet in the middle ground, especially those early football episodes. So yeah, it's a long way since then, but that was a pretty big conversation that has set the wheels in motion for where we are now.
Yeah, that's cool. I've got episode 50 with Ryan Nelson.
Yeah.
This was
when we peaked.
Well, we were a football show, right?
Yeah.
And it was like, well, once you've got Ryan Nelson, where else is there to go? We'd done 30 or 40 of New Zealand's most interesting and successful football personalities. And then I remember having almost like a crash out because it was so good and we loved it, and we like edited up a little video and it kind of like got things moving to the next level. But then I was like, where do you go from there?
Do you remember that setup as well in the Bruce Avenue Garrett, like in that studio, where sitting opposite one another with our laptops, like respectively, and the Omni in the middle, like such a rinky-dink setup, like technical setup to do it, and being like off the camera signaling when you wanted to ask a question, but being like intently staring at the screen too.
And
far out.
I remember being so proud and I look back on it now and like, oh fuck, what a shitty operation. Like the quality of the video and the audio, and I've got this big fucking unkempt like bushy beard with a silly hat.
I mean, not too much has changed.
But yeah, so I remember afterwards, and it was kind of like, well, I think that might have been the closest we ever came to stopping in my mind, because it was kind of like, oh, fuck, we've done this cool thing, but I felt a little bit empty afterwards until we realized that we were bigger than football. It was not a football thing anymore. It was like let's broaden the scope.
Yeah, and then fast forward a little bit, we jumped on with the Alternative Commentary Collective, who've been a massive help to us. We started recording in the ACC studio in Auckland at NZME, and then the next kind of milestone, and we talk about this one a lot, is the episode with Miyamoto. And it was the episode where, famously, I think you cried for the first time on one of our podcasts. But it wasn't so much the fact that you cried on the episode. I think that's kind of secondary to the prep that we did. Like, I think back about how we spent like a lot of time together working out how we were going to map and talk about it, how we were going to get to the difficult moments in the conversation. So I think that was when we probably really, I mean, we were already doing it, but like really starting to take the craft of the storytelling element. And then the fact that in the wave of the conversation, you got swept up by what we were talking about and were like really present in the moment as well was awesome. I think that was a really cool display of our work in real time as I spit all over the table.
But yeah, the decision to, not hide away from that and share that on social media, that was kind of the crossover from when I stopped giving a shit.
Yeah.
I think of what, previous me would have been, I don't want people seeing that.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, well, that's what happened.
Yeah.
That's what happened. So people should see it. And then, that linked to like, when I watched her win the world title fight that night, that weekend with Bon. That was pretty cool. I guess to continue the path of sort of going full-time and turning it into a business, I remember realizing that there was a path to make this our full-time jobs, but it needed one of us to basically put all of their time into it. We couldn't afford to pay both of us, but I came up with the plan that if I can dedicate enough time to actually selling some stuff ourselves, then in time we can both do it full time, which required quite a leap of faith for you because you were prepared to not take any money for 12 months while working your full-time job and doing all this traveling. And it has worked out. But one moment that stuck out was my actual first sale, which was Peter Pit. We'd had Dwayne Dalton on the podcast, so we had this existing relationship, and I remember talking to one of the members of his marketing team, and we had a few calls back and forth, and I was confident in what I was selling, and they bought the package, like a 3-month package, which was almost as much as I had been getting paid at the Herald. And then we did one with the Waterboy sort of concurrently. And I was like, Shay,
we're doing it.
We're doing it.
Do you remember actually filming the Peter Pit ad in the back of the Prado with like your dad that came in to do some B-roll stuff as well? Like actually bringing that to life was quite fun too. Our first experience of doing like a social campaign was cool.
Yeah. So my journey I went from full time at the Herald to 2 days. I was like, talked to the boss there. I was like, can I just do 2 days and give me 3 days a week to work on the podcast? And then pretty soon after these realized we could go all in. And then
that leads nicely to my next one, which is actually getting the first kind of paycheck from Between Two Beers Limited after remember the GST debacle of trying to set up signing up for GST.
Sam Matthews.
And we were working out what it was.
What is GST?
What is GST? I just want to preface this by saying what is GST. So we registered for GST, then we unregistered, then we re-registered. But actually getting the first paycheck through from Between Two Beers Limited.
We've got a friend, Sam, who's an accountant. And I remember the voice notes. I want to start by saying, imagine we're financially illiterate to the point that you need to explain this to us like we're 10.
Yeah.
And then he came back with quite a basic sort of explanation. And we said, nah, bring it down again.
Still didn't get it. That's fun. It is actually funny doing this. Like, register for GST, unregistered, registered again. But getting the first paycheck was... that was a moment, like, I obviously do remember when we were first starting and you were like, man, Shay, if we're still doing this after 100 episodes, we'll be doing it full time. And I was like, oh, yeah, that sounds like it's a thing. It could be a thing. And then it was like, it was over 100 episodes by that stage. But to actually, get a paycheck from something that you built from scratch was pretty cool. Yeah. And continues to be pretty cool. I love putting money through when we get paid. I like paying ourselves. It's awesome.
And then continuing it through is kind of like the expansion of the podcast into the live scene. And we've hosted the Hellbergs for 2 years now. And the last time it was 1,000 people in the room and us on stage riffing with, gives a cheer if you listen to the Between Two Beers podcast and see in the room cheer. So I looked over at you. I was like, "This is pretty."
Yeah,
wild.
it was extreme. That was really cool. Yeah, we often talk about the wild kind of ride and the places, the rooms that we end up in. That we're pinch yourself moments. That was definitely one. You cried famously on the Miyamoto episode, and I had my own moment. And again, this isn't so much about the crying, but I think it's about just being present in the conversation with Jason Gunn when he started talking about his mum. And I don't know, it was a whirlwind of emotion, stuff that was happening around in the background all at the same time. But that was like a really magical moment to just be completely, I don't think there was a dry eye in the room. I think there was 4 of us in the room. Producer Jake was in tears. You were gone. I think Jason was pretty good. But yeah, that was kind of a surreal, like not out of body experience, but just a hectic moment in a recording, which I haven't experienced a lot since we've recorded.
Yeah, but we also hung out for like an hour afterwards with Jace.
Yeah, true.
He was there for the night, and we just sat there and just yarned. It was just a good, I don't know, like such a good vibe in that room. Yeah, with producer Jake as well.
Yeah, but and I think it's one of those moments where somebody that you've known a version of them through TV growing up, and then next thing you're in a present, you're present with them, and you're your peer, and it's just it's a weird, amazing dynamic to have, and we're really lucky to keep being able to do that.
I'm going to add one in because it's just triggered my memory. Simon Barnett, I don't think we can have the 6 years without mentioning Simon Barnett, because it is the episode on reflection that I am most proud of how we went about it and what we got and what he got from it. And the feedback from it is like nothing that we've ever experienced across all of the episodes. Like such love and appreciation for him and his story and how it's helped people, and realizing the power of the podcast and good storytelling. And then his response from being reluctant to release it to being overwhelmed with like gratitude that he did was just like a wild week, that one.
Yeah, that was awesome. I'll jump in with my last one before you can round us out, and that was our first recording in here. Our first recording at our studio, which you can hire as well if you're wanting to.
Sales.
But when Al Brown drove down to Hamilton, I'll be honest, when we pitched come down to Hamilton, I'm like, this guy's never coming down to Hamilton to record. Sure enough, he jumped in the car, he recorded with us. It was an awesome way to christen the proper full setup studio. But then to be able to expand that out and take him to have lunch at Octavo, our mate Carl's restaurant, connect him up with that whole ecosystem that Di talks about a lot, kind of coming to life and leaping out, that was a really cool afternoon. I remember coming home after that and just being like, man, what an awesome day. We had a cool conversation, got a great episode, had some good food, connected someone up that might be able to help one of our mates down the line. It was like people helping people to the nth degree. It was awesome. Beautiful day in Hamilton. All the stars just aligned. It was great.
Painting a picture. I'm going to actually round mine out after. I'm going to pop in some bonus points here.
Okay.
So you've written this one. Steve Price, you say it.
Yeah, well, it's actually here. It's Steve. It's Steve. So Steve Price for me was like rugby league legend, was an absolute hero. And then when he was recording Celebrity Treasure Island, we were able to record an episode with him, and I was so stoked to get like my book signed by him. And this has happened a couple of times since, but he spelt my name Shamus, and I know he's come out and said, "Oh, mate, you should have told me." But that was a moment of being like, I don't know, still feeling a little bit overawed by the situation.
I remember seeing him doing it and like just like honing in on you because I know how much it annoys you when people spell your name wrong.
Well, I mean,
and just kind of sheepishly standing there. Like,
we had speaking of my name, there was another. Actually, off the back of the first Halbergs, we got auctioned off for a dinner, and the hosts, who were amazing hosts, but one of them spent half the night calling me Shameless, thinking that was...
What was your name?
Sorry? That was my name. His name's actually Shameless. Like, no, that's not my name. And actually, I just thought about this. It would be remiss of me not to mention the 100th episode quiz night, because that is where I met Doc Brown for the first time in Auckland. So I scribbled that down very quickly.
Well, that's an interesting one that I didn't think of, because Doc Brown was a listener of the Between Two Beers podcast.
That's right. who became part of the Between Two podcast world down the line in later on in 2023.
Yeah.
So that was a good one.
All right.
That was a good
Love
one.
that for you. And the last one I've got is we did this private Q&A with Lord Ian Botham at one of our former guests' secret bars. And that night was like, I don't know.
That was a whirlwind as well.
Yeah, this was like 2 or 3 years ago. And
it's like a Tuesday night.
It was one of those ones where I was like, how are we in this situation?
Yeah.
And we were all dressed up, like we didn't really know what to wear. And we were sort of like blazers
overdressed
and boots. And then Beefy rolls in and sort of like jandals and shorts. And just holds court for 40 minutes.
So those were the honourable mentions, but what's the last one for you?
Well, it lines up with the recording we did last week. So Ryan Fox came down to Hamilton to record with us. Like that, I mean, similar to your thinking with Al Brown, we kind of throw it out there. Like, we can record with you in Auckland, or we'd love to have you in Hamilton. And he came back and he said, I'll come down to Hamilton. And I was so, like, I've been on this huge golf buzz since he last came on. He came on 3 years ago. And so the thought of New Zealand's best golfer, one of our most popular and in-demand sporting personalities, traveling 90 minutes to come and chat with us was just the coolest thing ever. And in the lead up to it, I was talking to a few mates that play golf, and I was like, I think I'm going to ask him to play. We're recording at 11. We can get out afterwards. And so I sent him, and we talk about this on the episode, like sending him a voice note asking if he wanted to go out and play 18 holes after the recording. And fair enough, like I couldn't actually get us a tee time till 4 o'clock out at Tiki where I play. And he's like, it's a little bit late for me. But even that, like asking Ryan Fox to go and play golf with you.
How many attempts at the voice note did you take? Because this is something I've noticed only recently, is that you record multiple to get it perfect before you send it.
Yeah, I do. I delete a few drafts on the voice notes. I don't know.
I raw dog most of my voice notes, and some of them really miss. Yeah, really miss.
Yeah, important ones.
Yeah.
So Foxy comes down, and I'm like, well, he's going to be here. Like, we've got some time with him before and after. Like, let's create some content. So I bring my golf clubs into the office, and we tell Matt Stark, I'm like, hey, Foxy's coming in, just in case you want to come by and say hi or whatever. He's like, I'll bring some turf in. I said, all right.
I thought he was joking.
So he drops off this, 2 meters of turf, and we put it down in one corner of the office. And me and cameraman Sam start creating a little chipping challenge, and it pisses you off because it's
you didn't invite me for a start. In the original voice note, it was me and Sam and Foxy are going to have some golf shots, and I was like, well, I'm not even part of the conversation.
Well, yeah, I mean, that was an oversight. Yeah, you've got a beautiful swing.
Thank you.
I think people,
but also, health and safety lens, I was concerned about potentially, damage to the office.
But so we've got 5 real golf balls, and we're chipping them from one corner to the other, trying to land them in a bin, and it's pretty horrific. And balls are going into walls, and we're sort of wondering if it's going to work as a gimmick, as a thing. But after we finished recording with Foxy, I'm like, well, fuck it, we're going to try. So we take him out there, and
I like how he said as well. He's like, these are real golf balls. I thought they would be plastic ones.
So we go out there, and I'm like, all right, Foxy, here's the thing. I'm going to do 5 balls, and then you do 5 balls, and we'll see who gets the most. And hopefully something comes from it. And Valari have provided us a little lunch. He's sort of eating in the corner, and I go fix my setup. How we looking? And I'm like, all right, let's be a bit cocky with it. I'll probably just get 1. And he's like, 1. Seeing how I set up, I don't think so, mate. He's like, put it a little bit back in the stance, mate. Open the face a little bit, and let's just see how you go. And then the first one, I've just hit the backboard and gone in, and claimed it to be the greatest moment of my golfing career. Maybe one of the highlights of my life. And
I think you should have ended it there.
Yeah.
I think you should have just been 1 and just walked off.
Everyone's amazing. I'm like, holy shit. I think I had 40 shots in prep for this, and none of them went close, and the first one's gone in. This is incredible material. I shanked the other 4, whatever, they can get edited out. But then it's Foxy's turn. He's like, all right, give me a go. And as he's hitting 5, he misses the first 3.
Yeah.
And in my head,
and in mine,
I'm thinking, is there a chance that I'm going to be able to dine out on this for the rest of my life, beating Foxy in a chipping comp?
And that was what was going through my head as well, is I'm never going to hear the end of this.
He drains the fourth and clutch. Foxy comes up and drops the fifth one in.
Amazing.
And I'm like, what an incredible piece of content, which we will release at some point this week on socials.
Phenomenal.
So to sort of round out the moments, like that was Ryan Fox traveling to record with us in studio and then playing golf with him in our own office. Right? Yeah, and I think back to 6 years ago of this on my table. Like, that is a crazy sentence to say. And just the cool, like I felt so good that day. I was like, that is the perfect day of work. Like, that's what we get to call a job. Was just super, super special. So we do have a bit of backstory to talk to, but that is the longest segment I think we've ever done. Hell of an occasion, 6th birthday. Head to liquorland.co.nz to check out specials for the summer season ahead.
Now, there is a backstory as to why Ryan Fox ended up driving to Hamilton to record with us here versus in Auckland, because the week before, we were due to record with him on Thursday. Now, I left early to get up there as we normally do, and then received a phone call from you.
Yeah, we spoke about this on the last Hambassadors. We had a big recording. We had Bill Bailey. We had Ryan Fox and Bill Bailey, and we'd been prepping for it for a while, big couple of days. And my wife got really sort of scarily sick for 48 hours there. And she had these like intense headaches, and there was vomiting associated with it. And I was sort of on the road and got a text saying, you need to come back. And then I got home to a situation you never really want to see, where she's on the floor vomiting and 4 kids. And it's like, holy shit, Shay, I'm not going to make it. I'm not quite sure how the next couple of days are going to play out. Let's see. She gets she gets released. We go to A&E and she gets released, and it's just like a really bad migraine, like a 10 out of 10 migraine, but it starts to settle down a little bit. But then it ramps up again, and we end up back in hospital the next morning. And it's a pretty like whirlwind time, because you fear the worst. In the end, like, spoiler alert, she's fine, and it was just a heavy migraine, but there was a period there where we didn't really know.
Yeah, like worst case scenarios going through your head at this moment?
I don't know. I'm just sort of dealing with what was in front of me, but that involved going back to hospital at 4 a.m. that next morning, because she had started sort of having these really intense headaches and more vomiting that night. So I knew something wasn't right, but we had Bill Bailey that afternoon, and I remember talking to you on the phone, and you were like,
I was like, yeah, sack it off, mate. We don't need it. I was like, I was like genuinely, obviously from a place of concern, being like, well, if there's any trepidation, don't even worry about this. Just be present and be home with your kids and your family. Like, that's way more important than a recording.
Which, of course, was my state of mind too. But then we got discharged from the hospital at like 9:30 a.m. We'd been there since 4. And at that point, it was starting to settle down. The doctor said that they weren't worried about anything. There was no sort of more serious concerns. It was a migraine. She was going to feel better. She just needed to go home and rest. So the kids had all been taken care of. They were at kindy and school for the day and had after school stuff. So my path was clear to go. And she was like, go, I'm fine. I'm just going to be sleeping anyway. So what are you going to do? And so I did. And I've got this new Whoop watch, which measures your like
stress levels
and things. And it was quite interesting reading back on it, because the time I was most stressed, the highest stress for 45 minutes, was driving to Auckland, leaving Bonn and Hamilton.
Right. That's interesting.
Yeah, it was really, I didn't really think about that or process it. So then we get to Auckland and record with Bill Bailey, right? So all that is kind of, that's just whatever.
Yeah.
And then it's just like dialed in and right, let's have the best conversation we can with Bill.
But it was cool because I guess like that audible forced us to try and approach the episode in a slightly different way, which was, I think the final product was awesome. Like, we could have retold the greatest hits of Bill Bailey and told the story from beginning to end, but what we got was like a way more insightful, thoughtful kind of take from someone a little bit older than us on these bigger questions of life, which I felt way more enriched after having that conversation on the drive home and being like, oh man, that was a cool, different way to approach an episode.
Yeah, so if you haven't listened, we kind of go for the approach of big questions rather than like a linear timeline of life. And I think that works really well for certain guests. Like Bill Bailey, you ask him anything, he's going to give you such a good, wise, insightful answer. So there are guests I think this is the right approach with.
It's a little bit like how we structure a reflections interview. If you buy one of those privately, it's kind of those bigger, broader themes brought to life by the person that we're speaking to.
But like he was on a press day, so he'd done about 10 interviews already that day, little short ones. Ours was the longest slot he got, so we had 80 minutes with him. Everyone else had 10. And yeah, just, the initial meeting and you're thinking, does he actually want to be here? And then asking him and saying, no, I actually really enjoy doing that. And then by the end, I don't think he wanted to leave. It was cool.
And he's currently on tour in New Zealand as well at the moment. So check out the tour dates. He'll be coming, I think he's doing 13 stops on his way. Finishes here in Hamilton at the end of the month. So if you are local and a Hambassador, go and check him out. But also you can find the link to tickets and everything in our show notes.
It's smooth, man. Eh?
Sometimes
you're like a radio guy. Sometimes you just come and sweep up.
Yeah. Sometimes I'm in the zone. Other times I'm really clunky and all over the place.
Speaking of in the zone, between the Bill Bailey and Ryan Fox, you've just gone and done 2 commentating gigs, haven't you? Auckland FC and Phoenix.
Yeah, I did the double header round 2 of the A-League. The 2 home openers, Auckland on the Saturday and Wellington on the Sunday. I was really happy with the way they went. In fact, you gave me a really nice compliment. Really nice compliment, which I know is hard for you.
Hard for me to do. We always talk about sending the message.
Yeah,
and
that was really well received. Thank you.
Yeah. It didn't need to be much. It was just, you did good. You did good, kid.
Yeah, I really like. Normally, I get quite anxious about how it's going to be received. But I think after this is season 3 of me starting to do them, it feels a bit more natural and a bit more comfortable. I've got a couple more coming up soon, but I really enjoyed it. It was good, good fun.
I don't want you to get too much of a big head, but you did a good job.
Back in the sweet spot. And big weekend if you are an A-League fan, because it's the first instalment of the Kiwi Derby of this season. The Bro Classico, as Jacob Spoonley was calling it that. And I was like, I think you're out on your own here. The Bro Classico. And that is your bet for our segment Between Two Bets, brought to you by our friends at the TAB. R18, bet responsibly.
This is so smooth. For those watching live, you just the king of
Segway. But you've jumped on that game.
I've gone the draw. I think a draw at 375.
Good money.
We need to start building this pool. If we're going to start paying these listeners out, we need to get a bit of money in there. So I don't want to go for a safe $1.80 bet because what's the bloody point?
My bet this week?
Yeah. Well, one of us should go safe, and one of us should go a little bit more of a stupid bet. So I've gone for the stupid bet, which is the draw at 375.
No, I think that's good. I think that's good. Wellington Phoenix 2 draws and a win. Auckland FC a draw and 2 wins.
Okay.
Both teams unbeaten. It sets up the Bro Classico.
Oh man, you got to stop with that.
Nicely. I've gone All Blacks to beat Scotland by 13 plus. I think that's a pretty safe kind of banker.
Is it? Are we calling
All Blacks to beat Scotland by 13 plus? They played pretty well against Ireland over the weekend.
Yeah, fair.
R18, bet responsibly.
Right, time for our 5 favourite segment. And today we are going for 5 favourite TV characters.
Yeah, I liked this category. Where did you just pull it out of the...
I just thought about it.
Yeah.
I thought we should do it.
Yeah. Did you have someone in mind?
No one in mind. I've enjoyed the process. I want to read my special mentions first.
Nice.
Topanga from Boy Meets World. I should say that these are characters that have had a direct influence or impact, or I don't know.
What impact did Topanga have?
Well, she was my first crush, I remember, on TV.
Yeah.
So, I don't know, 13, 14, 15, Topanga Lawrence, I think her name was. She left a memory in the young man's mind. Anyway, enough about Topanga. Tony Soprano, Don Draper, Will Smith from Fresh Prince, and Jack Bauer from 24. They were all on my shortlist.
Honourable mention. Should I do my honourable mentions?
Yeah, go on. Honourable mention.
Honourable mention, Saul Berenstein from Homeland. Mandy Patinkin's character. Fleabag Phoebe Waller-Bridge.
I love Fleabag, yeah.
Yeah. Jackson Lamb, Slow Horses. And Din Djarin, otherwise known as the Mandalorian, Star Wars.
Yeah.
Big Star Wars guy.
All right. Right, shall we go? I'm just going to go my 5 and then you do your 5.
You don't get 1 for 1?
No.
Doesn't sound like you do.
Let's do rankings. 5. You got yours ranked 5 to 1?
Absolutely not, but if you give me 10 seconds, I will do that.
All right. Coming in at number 5, I've got that guy from Sports Cafe.
Lee Hart.
It's Lee Hart.
Okay.
The character, that guy.
I would have finished on Lee Hart.
Absurd and memorable. I watched Sports Cafe. You watched it for Mark Ellis, but you also watched it for that guy.
T-Guy, yeah.
The way he brought those sports segments to life, the snail racing, just every time he was on was just can't miss TV. Made a big impression on me. I've got Shiv from Succession, number 4. You've watched Succession?
Not watched that show.
Oh, man. Her relationship with Tom is he's a bit of a cuck. He's a bit of a, yeah, and she is very sharp and strategic and messy, and her acting is brilliant, and that whole show is one of my favourites. So Shiv comes in at number 4. I'm actually combining my 3 because they're very bitsy characters.
I've done that.
And they are Creed Bratton from the US version of The Office.
All right.
And Jean Ralphio from Parks and Recreation. They're both just...
Those are 2 different shows. I don't know if you can...
Yeah, they're 2 different shows, but they're such small characters that I wanted to combine them into one. Creed, every time he nails his lines, like that character cracks me up. And John Ralphio is just... You ever watch that, Parks and Rec?
No.
Him and his sister Mona Lisa. Absurd, really funny. Okay, but number 2, I got Larry David.
Oh, I've not watched
Curb Your Enthusiasm
either.
Oh, mate. One of the great shows. So you're not going to get these references then.
No.
He essentially says the quiet part out loud and follows logic past the point of being polite. Reminds me of one of our friends, actually, Sam Wilkinson. It's like how tiny breaches they balloon into these wars. It's like chat and cut when you're in line and you're kind of like... Oh, I don't need to go into that. I can't give good example. You know what is terrible when you try to give examples of why something's amazing and you can't do it? I'm not going to do it. All right, number 1 is David Brent. I think the most not inspirational. What am I trying to say? The most, what's the word?
Quotable?
No.
Influential?
The most influential figure and my favourite of all time is David Brent.
I prefer the stuff you do with a little laugh.
Self-styled entertainer who can't read a room. The boss who wants love more than respect. His delusion collides with tiny truths, status anxiety, vanity, fear of being ordinary, and that mix creates both laughs and
Are you just reading those?
Yeah. There we go.
And that's Office. That's the Office.
That's better. That's a better way to do it. The dance, the guitars, the slogans, so many David Brent mannerisms still exist in my life, and that's why David Brent's number 1.
I cannot believe I didn't have David Brent on my list at all. Real oversight on my part. So I started at number 5 with Thomas Magnum from Magnum P.I., which is the first show I really remember watching as a kid. Like, Mum had them all taped on a VHS, and I would come home and watch them. I used to drive that Ferrari, and it was like the first show that I ever remember watching.
Yeah.
And that's Magnum P.I. Number 4, it's a little bit of a small bit part character, but did you watch The White Lotus season 1?
Yeah.
The hotel manager, Armand, the Australian guy.
Yeah.
Like
gay sex?
Yeah, big time. Yeah. Big time. Big rimming scene in there. like just
Remington.
Yeah. just excellent character acting. Loved that a lot. Like that was
that's a great one.
Yeah. Armand was a great character.
Yeah, it's better than mine.
Stewie Griffin from Family Guy, like the whole show Family Guy.
Yeah.
But Stewie kind of encapsulates it for me. I thought about Peter, but yeah. I mean, they're all Seth MacFarlane, so did I say MacFarlane? MacFarlane.
Yeah.
I said MacFarlane. Seth MacFarlane.
Mm-hmm.
That comes in at number 3. At number 2, I combined 2 because it was their scenes together, which is Game of Thrones.
Yeah.
The Hound and Arya Stark. Those 2 characters were awesome. They had this little side quest where they were off before she went to the Faceless Men.
The Hound is an interesting one.
Yeah, it was like the scenes with Arya.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
I really liked those two characters together.
Yeah, nice.
Yeah. And then round out number one, this is niche areas, Robert Ford, who was played by Anthony Hopkins in Westworld Season 1. And that is like awesome acting, character acting.
Oh, yeah. I watched Westworld
Yeah.
Season 1.
It kind of lost its way as a show, but Season 1 was awesome. And I felt like Hopkins really...
Oh, he's got good chops.
Yeah, he can act. The boy can act. Yeah, no matter how you dress it up, the boy can act. Yeah, good show. That was one of my favorite shows, and then it kind of lost its way in Season 4, and then it got cancelled.
Your characters are all quite sort of serious, and mine are all sort of just absurd humour. Interesting.
Well, Stewie Griffin.
Stewie Gryffindor.
Stewie Griffin. His brother. No, Thomas Magnum was a little bit kind of action. I think that's the mustache too, the Ferrari.
He wore it.
Yeah, he did.
Well.
He did. I loved that show. Rick, TC, Thomas Magnum, Higgins, and Zeus and Apollo were the two dogs. Really down the rabbit hole.
We have a voice note from an old friend.
Yeah, number five on your list of characters.
Yes. There's a nice seg. Yes, that guy is coming in on this episode to answer one of our questions, which Shay is about to play.
Oh, g'day guys, Lee Hart here. Words of wisdoms, stuff I've come across lately. I'm not sure I saw this for my sins. I think it might have been something. It might have been something on Facebook or Instagram or something. Some comment. So it's hardly coming from a powerful source, but I think it's quite a powerful message. Imagine if Imagine it was illegal to teach any religion until someone is 18 years old. How different the world might be. Just think about that for a moment. You know what I mean? Until your brain is developed to a level where you can actually make sense of the world yourself, what's real, what's not, then you can be taught religion and make of it what you will. When we go on about, social media with kids, until they're 16, etc. I mean, great idea as well, perhaps. But imagine religion couldn't be taught until someone is 18 years old. I think that would be a powerful thing. It would make the world a different place. Cheers.
A lot deeper than I thought we would get from Lee Hart.
I'll be honest. When I sent that voice note to Lee, I wasn't expecting it to come back on religion. But that's the beauty of the man. It can go, you do not know what to expect.
Yeah, okay. So no religion before the age of 18.
The world would look a lot different. A lot different.
Did you have any religion before 18?
No, I grew up in a non-religious house. My mum was a believer up until her dad passed, and then she sort of walked away from it. Bruce, my dad, was not religious. So, no, I grew up with no religion, no church, never got brought into the house.
Did you ever dabble? Did you ever feel a pull towards giving it a little nudge?
No, never. I think I had a girlfriend at one point who was quite religious, and I think I might have gone to church with her a few times, but that was the extent of it. How about you?
Pretty religious household. So mum would go to church a lot, still does. I went as a kid, and then when rep football was a thing on Sundays, that sort of ended my going to church. It was
rep football became
my church. And then I haven't really felt a pull towards it. Fine, if that's what you believe. I'm not gonna trample all over.
It sounds like you're trampling
people's belief systems. But I do hold it like if Mum asks me to say grace before a meal, I'll politely decline because I don't think I could say grace, but I don't. If I'm not buying into it. I don't feel like that's a great thing to do. So I'd much rather leave that to somebody else to say grace on our behalf.
Right, we're going to round this out. We're doing an event coming up in November that we want to encourage people to come along to. We spoke about it in a previous episode. It's for the BetterMan charity.
Yeah, BetterMan's quiz and other shizz at Eden Park on the 28th of November. It's kind of like a regular quiz, but with like stag do elements to it as well.
Stag do?
Yeah, like games and a little bit of banter. I think there'll be yarns in between it. We've both been asked to speak as well. So, it's encouraging men to get together. Actually, I should say it's encouraging not just men. Women are also are able to come along to get together. You can even bring your group mates. It's a nice little hack for a Christmas party on the 28th of November. Still some tables available.
Yeah, a couple of tables left at Eden Park, isn't it?
Yes.
Come and link in bio, where we're putting the link in the show notes.
Show notes.
Yeah, come and grab a table. It's going to be a fun night.
And also a shout out to Lofty who've got on board as well, helping Kiwis check in on their mental health through their own online platform. But it's going to be a night of a lot of fun. It's not just heavy messages. There'll be heavy messages in there, but a whole lot of fun wrapped around it as well. Quiz night, you know how much I love a quiz. Whole bunch of good stuff. We'll see you there, Eden Park.
And last one for me, I am off to Queenstown for the week for Block 4 of the owner management program that I've been talking a little bit about on our ABO show. I'm away. What are you up to for the week?
I'm just going to probably stay home. When you're out of sight, out of mind, I'll hold the fort down here. I'll keep things ticking along. Got a few moving pieces in the between two beers world. There's heaps to get on with before we shut down for the year. Have we got our Christmas holidays sorted?
Yeah, I think so. I think there's a few things happening. We'll shut down for a few weeks. But round this out, this has been a long one, but that's what you get for your 6th birthday bonanza. Why don't you go and get yourself something nice this afternoon?
Yeah.
Get yourself a little birthday treat.
All right, I will.
Yeah. Thanks for all the listeners who've been. So there's been some people that have been here from day one, 6 years ago, and they've listened to every episode, and they started as football fans, and now they listen to whatever we pump out.
Just fans.
That's really cool. No, I don't want that to be overlooked. We are only here because of the people that listen to the show, and it's been the most unimaginable 6-year ride, and long may it continue.
Nice little outro.
Yeah. Thanks, man.
Enjoy.
See you next week.